I had to do the thing that no highly conscientious, empathic, sensitive, codependent type person wants to do. And that is be honest with myself first and foremost about the fact that I am not in a position to have the mental capacity to show up to celebrate one of my closest friends being celebrated. And my old self would run on these patterns of you're making it about you, just show up, and override that threshold that I have to be. I know that if I went there due to other circumstances that would be there, I would have to be fake, which would make me feel insane. I don't do it well. I would leave, ruminating and feeling actually insane. And to be a person who is first and foremost honest with myself about my capacity, that's a new ball game of living in reality, right? Because I am no longer trying to change my capacity to meet reality. I am meeting myself in my reality, which is, my truth is, I cannot betray myself by entering that room and knowing it is going to disturb my inner peace that I've worked for and built for myself. And my old self would, I'm thinking of a particular client that I work with who, even in her psychology, she cannot conceptualize saying no to anything unless she has a full load on her, schedule of other things she also wished she would have been able to say no to, but didn't. So if she's asked to do anything, she will always go, well, I can't because I have this thing, because of that thing. A lot of people do that, right? So even the other day, somebody was here and she kept being like, I gotta go. And I knew she didn't really have to go. And my one kid kept being like, why do you have to go? Why do you have to go? And I finally was just like, she wants to. Like, that's the truth, right? But we have all of these gross, codependent, weird layers of, oh no, I'm leaving because there's something else pressing on me, instead of I feel pressed to go, right? Like, that's me in there, and that's why I have to go, because I want to. But we come up with all of these lies. I need to do this other thing. So then all of these relationships are based on need. Why are you calling me if you don't need me, right? I don't want to be in relationships like that anymore. And I also don't want to be in rooms where I have to be fake or mask heavily or leave feeling like gaslit by reality. So I had to say the truth, which was, at first I wanted to go down the rabbit hole of like, wait, well, maybe that day one of my kids will get sick because, that's so horrible, but like, it's the second week of school, a lot of kids get sick then. So I'm starting to think like, well, something else could come up that I would not go. But the truth is, something came up in me, and I don't want to live anymore like I am a result of what was made of me. Like, I am a result of my circumstance. I want to be who I am, and I want my circumstances to be a result of me. So I just want to say that when you're in the loop, if you're like, me or that one client who really, even in her own head, it has taken years to get to a place where I will be like, you're like, you just don't want to. Let's address that. Let's even admit it to yourself, because she can't even hardly admit it to herself. Like, because she, like, when I told my friend, I had to say, I don't want to be this person. I want to have the capacity to celebrate you and to suck it up and be fake. Really, truly, if I went, it would feel like in a weird way that actually I did make it more about me, because I wouldn't be able to be present, because it would be like some internal circumstance that I'd be having to attend to, that I would attend to for maybe days afterwards, just to celebrate her. And I had to say, I want to celebrate you, but I'm going to have to do it in a different capacity. I can't be in that room. So when you're going down somebody's asking you for something, and me as a projector, I love being invited. I don't do anything unless I'm invited. I don't initiate relationships. I don't initiate a lot of things. I have to be invited into a dynamic to feel welcome to it. So that also has translated in my own internal field that I would see any kind of attention as connection or affection, which is kind of bizarre given that I never even got affection. But if anybody paid any amount of attention to me, so if any time I was invited, I would go, oh, we're best friends now, right? So I also have to know that, like, I'm no longer entering spaces based on just being invited. I have to also feel welcomed. I'm a part of that not solution, but that soup, right? Like, I used to be like, well, I was invited, so I'm going to show up there as if I'm an extension of this other person, instead of, well, I was invited and I'm in here too. Do I feel welcome? And just because I'm invited, am I welcome? Because they are not the same thing. And I want to be honest with myself about that, even though I don't love the reality. It sucks, right? Being a human in that way and having to address reality sucks. So I have chosen to not accept the invite because I did not feel welcome, and I would not override that. And I know I am welcomed by the people that it would matter to, right? Like, but I did not want to override that in myself and come up with excuses other than the self, that the self is allowed to have capacity that stops at this bar, even though we want it to be this bar, right? The self is allowed to make decisions based on itself, not based on circumstances. I'm allowed to be myself now, right? So it was really interesting that I was able to just say, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. I can't be there. I do not have the mental capacity to not have my peace disturbed by being there. Let's do something else. And it felt way better than coming up with some weird manifestation of like, oh, my kids might be sick, or like, oh, we're going to do it the hard way. Like, it just feels so much better to let the self free of all of those things that I would normally cage it in and go, well, you have to say yes, unless there's an excuse outside of yourself that justifies that yourself exists and has a viewpoint that, is maybe not in alignment with this particular situation. So there you have it, folks. I did it. And you can do it too. You're allowed to say what's true instead of always wrapping yourself in clothing of excuses that are like convenient to clothe yourself in, so you don't have to face the truth or address the truth. You're allowed to just want to go, or can't go, or don't have the capacity to go, or don't want to betray yourself by, making sure that you're there, but you have to be absent just to be there. So I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. Bye.